Welcome back. Welcome in. It's Country Roads Confidential at earsports.com. This is a Paramount podcast. I am Mike Casazza. That is Chris Anderson. Chris, I go away for a weekend. The whole world's upside down when I come back. I was told the basketball team was undefeated and unrivaled, and then two very different days, except similar outcomes here. 5-0 to 5-2 in just like 48 hours. Pretty quick how this happened. And I'm assuming that this has everybody in the mood because, as we know, football has been just gangbusters all year and giving everybody smiles and optimism. And that was basketball's job, and just couldn't even get us to the Thanksgiving dinner table now. So I'm imagining past the stuffing and can we fire Ross Hodge will be pretty big parts of the Thursday discourse, huh?
Yeah, usually we don't fully move on in the mailbag to non-football until December. I mean, at least like into it because even recruiting is still going on. So I know we're a week away, but right now it is fully, yeah, a lot of what are the first questions? Instead of the weekly Scotty Fox is Scotty Fox the guy question, it's is Ross Hodge the guy question. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a tough weekend for basketball. On Friday night. I was at a charity dinner. You were at a reception. Andrew was driving home for, Thanksgiving break for the week. So we put Nepo reporter in charge. Um, and that's my 11-year-old son. I don't know if you read his game recap.
Oh, I have
Uh,
some thoughts. Yeah.
he put up some thoughts and he said, Dad, I didn't want to be too mean in it, so I didn't say everything. Well, you could say more. And then watching Sunday, I was back for the Sunday, watched the entire game, had some thoughts on it, did the rapid reactions. It was a rough watch, both games, because I did also on Saturday go back and watch and quote unquote live react. Obviously knew the outcome of the game, but I watched the last 5 minutes for the first time and reacted on the board as it was happening. And it is a rough. I mean, there's just some things that are just some bad basketball. And I think a lot of the people on the board are very quickly trying to pin that on Ross Hodge. It, like
Can
you
Ross
can
Hodge
coach,
count?
yeah,
Can you do subtraction?
yeah.
Like
I don't know.
if you're -3, you probably shouldn't dunk.
Right.
So I've caught up on the game from Friday. I have not yet seen Sundays. I'll do that today. What struck me about the game Friday was that it was his guys. They went out with his guys. Like Lorient makes a just a bonehead play that can happen sometimes. It shouldn't happen though, especially when the guy that you put so much trust in. And Floyd, that's his other guy, and literally put the ball in his hands in the post a lot during the game, but his guys just didn't come through there. And then I look at the box score mostly. I know what happened. I look at the box score Saturday. One, in some aspects, it's a winning performance. Unfortunately for West Virginia, the other side also has to play the game, and it was not a winning performance on defense, which is unusual. So you figure that's not going to happen very much. Never mind the shooting numbers, but you still had Laureate and Floyd in like key positions, and Floyd just again not. I'm not sure he's cast properly right now. What they're trying to do, and I think there's probably a question about what changes you make, whatever. But I don't know how much you flip flop in the first game and the second. My other one was watching the first game. Again, haven't seen the second game, but if I if I watch the second game, I wonder how much slower West Virginia's going to be. Because like, watching the first game Friday, those final 5, 6 minutes, it felt like West Virginia was in like the second game of like a 2 game in 2 days or 2 games in 3 days. Very slow, not a lot of subbing, small rotation. Like, can we just get to the finish line and win this tournament kind of a thing? And that was the first game, just very methodical and not inspiring offensively. And when your defense isn't clicking, it's hard to get your offense going. And West Virginia's going to be a really hard team to um, imagine they're going to get their offense to stimulate their defense. So both sides of the coin were tails, it seems like for them.
Yeah. Um, I mean, watching some of that and just seeing some of the issues, like it's just, I think they're gonna have to make an adjustment. I think it's a good thing that there's several days here in between games, and
They need to
that,
practice. Man, they need to practice.
yeah, because so much of what was the issue on Friday night, which you then saw again on Sunday, was just basic high ball screen defense, which again, there's a reason why it is the most common, start to an offensive set or just kind of, hey, when in doubt, go to a high ball screen. That's why they do it from 8-year-olds all the way through the NBA. Like it puts teams in conflict. But it's also one of the very first things that you practice on how to defend. And so much of it is just communication between, especially between the two people involved. And in that Clemson game, I noted it when I was watching it. They ran it three straight times with the same two guys, the same dribbler and the same screener. And all three times, West Virginia's two defenders, both of them followed the ball as if nobody was talking to each other and they didn't know whether they were switching or hedging, whether he was opening the gate, whether he was letting him go under, over the screen. There was nothing. They just seemed confused, and this blob of two defenders would follow the ball uh, right into the lane just like they want, kick it back out, wide open three, or if the weak side defender comes up, which I think one time I noted, it was like, I said, man, this is tough because that's a true freshman over there. That's Amir Jenkins. Like, I think if he's not a true freshman, he knows he should be coming up and taking that first pass instead of leaning towards his guys two passes away. A couple plays later, Honor Huff is in that spot and almost gets a steal. But it's a thing that whole team needs to work on because there just seems to be a ton of confusion about how to defend high ball screens.
Surprising that it's happened to a defensive team. I can kind of get that the big guy Welling, he came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and maybe like the first one or two high ball screens, but like that wasn't the only time the high ball screen gave him a problem. Like they had an issue with him because he was just out of an out of nowhere source of offense, and they were running high post stuff through him. I think he maybe missed a three early in the game if I remember. But I wonder how much it was like, all right, they got us there, and they did Xavier kind of do that, but also Xavier just maybe Xavier overall just came out of nowhere because I did not know Xavier had that in them there too. So listen, we shouldn't talk much more. There's a whole lot to talk about here. I'm sure a lot of the questions go over that too, but um, man, they just need offense. They just in spurts. Like they don't give up big runs. They have not given up a 10-0 run this year. They only have six in 7 games, which doesn't sound like a bad number, but it's less than one a game, obviously. Some of those opponents they probably should be getting big numbers against, and they're not.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the mailbag then, because we got plenty of questions again. It has fully shifted, almost fully shifted to basketball. So prepare for a lot. I say, hey, there are more baseball questions in this mailbag than there are football questions. Can you believe
Ah, let's
that?
go. Yeah.
All right. But we're starting off with what do we want to call this? A miscellaneous topic. Not really, well, probably very much related to basketball. But again, I'm going by the most upvoted questions to start. That's what we'll answer on here. And this one comes from Quirky Quokka. Can we have a monthly purge where the entire board votes on the worst poster of the month? And the worst poster of the month can view but can't post for the entire next month. You like
Is
this
this like
idea?
your is this like your fantasy football league with your high school and college friends who the last place team just gets kicked out for the next year?
Yeah.
Like the worst poster is gone. I don't know, Chris. You know what? When anybody asks me these questions, you know what I always say?
What?
Uh, Check with Chris. I don't have access to that. Sorry, I can't help you, which I do. Don't tell anybody, but I work for you technically, so I'm a hub in your site, so I should not have any say in that. If I did, it might be a pretty quiet website too.
I don't know. I get nervous about this idea because I think I've told it before. Um, there used to be this might even predated you, Mike. I think they might have got rid of it before you ever even came on. Um, they used to keep track, and there was a like a top 10 and a not so top 10, I guess, if you will, of the most upvoted posters and the most downvoted posters. Like, so just what we're talking about here. And they would keep track of it, like for the month, the year, and all time. And I don't know if I like this idea because as the person who, like at the time, again, I think this was before you, so I was the only one posting stories. As the person who was providing news, both good and bad, and people relay their, disgust with news, negative news with downvotes a lot of times on this. I was the most upvoted person by quite a large margin, and the most downvoted person by quite a large margin. So I don't know. I could take a month vacation. Is that what? Maybe that's
Oh,
what we're getting at here.
there you go. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you might see me just start, what does my son call it? Rage baiting, like rage baiting with some posts, trying to tick some people off and get a bunch of downvotes so I can take the next month off.
I got this cruise booked.
Yeah.
Fire off some takes now. Yeah, I get you. That's not a bad idea. I could see that. It's democratic.
Um, C. Ray Cool wants to know
Oh
instead
boy.
of his weekly Scotty Fox question, he wants to know, is Ross Hodge the guy? I'm asking for a select few posters, you know who you are. And additionally, is 6 games into a new coach's tenure too early to decide to fire him? Probably too
Oh
early,
God.
right?
Yeah, I think. Well, maybe not football, but basketball. Probably, I would think so. Hmm. I, Chris, a week ago, people were slam dunking, smacking the backboard because of recruiting, and that
Yeah.
hasn't changed. They lost 2 games. I don't know that a lot of people really thought this is like an NCAA tournament team. Like we had conversations about like this is an NIT team. In fact, you said no. You had them going to Vegas. I had them like I
Yeah.
think slipping into the NIT, which is probably um, I don't know, something to keep in mind based on what you see. Because again, their problems are their problems, and again, your coach is as good as your roster in some regards. If they keep getting picked apart, you can make this bigger deal. But I'm not firing Ross Hodge today because again, I wouldn't have been giving him a contract extension because Miles Sadler commits either. It's a results business, and sometimes results are best borne out over time. And a couple of days in Charleston where two teams kind of like again some stuff came out of nowhere, which is not an excuse, but you just can't. I think you got to be a little bit more flexible when you're thinking. I think people know that too, but here's the thing, Chris. Like people want basketball so bad to be not bad, like my English, right?
Yeah.
People really want basketball to be good again, and it has been a slog for a long, long time. So you give them a 5-0 start with a win over Pitt, which might not be a good team at all. Lost to Quinnipiac at home yesterday. Um, Maybe there's some fool's gold in there too, but maybe the opposite is true. Maybe Clemson's good. Maybe Xavier's not a terrible 3-3 team, but West Virginia's not a team that's going to go undefeated or 27-4 in the regular season either. So kind of a regression to what you expected probably, and maybe also what you feared because there's a lot of people right now who are gonna I told you so this stuff, and in the moment they're right, but you still got 24 more games left in the regular season here to figure out who was going to win this joust.
Yeah. I mean, again, a week ago they were 5-0, had beaten Pitt, blown out Pitt, and picked up a 5-star recruit. And everybody, like, what'd you say? Slapping the backboard. I like that for those that can't dunk. Slapping the backboard on your layups. So
Yeah.
celebrate. Now you've lost two, and everybody's losing their mind. And hey, fast forward 2 weeks from now, maybe they're 9-2 and heading into this, Ohio State game, and everybody's back on board. And it's all excitement again. I hate taking a small window of a very large scene and trying to make a judgment out of it because, and there was another question, which I guess we'll go ahead and kind of we were touching on here. Somebody had asked, and I was saving it for the mailbag. There it is, Tomcat F. Have we downgraded WV's perceived likely win total from like the 820 range down to the 14.8? Like, I'm not downgrading it. I always had it 14 to 18. I don't know if other people adjusted it, but me personally, and I'm assuming Mike here, we were always in the 14 to 18 range. We discussed it a few times, kind of, hey, this is a fringe, a 500-ish team, fringe, maybe bubble team. If you can get up to that 18 spot of wins. But yeah, like you said, you had said NIT, and I had said, God, I can't even remember what it's called, but the Vegas tournament, the Crown,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I haven't downgraded anything. Just raised a little concern about that high ball screen defense. But you get 5 days here, 6 days here to work on it, so it should be all right.
Really need to start banking wins though.
Yeah, I mean
Like probably cannot go 0-2 against Wake and Ohio State unless you're gonna just like clean up in the Big 12, which part of me seems unlikely. So you've got to get one of those two.
yeah, your best non-conference win probably shouldn't be. I was about to
Little
say
Rock.
Pitt. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not Pitt. Is you say Little Rock's the best one? Yeah,
If they beat Little Rock, it might be.
Little Rock, or if they beat Little Rock. I see what you did there. Um,
And that's a tough game. That's a tough game. That's in between Wake and Ohio State. Neither one of those games is at home. That Wake game is in Charleston. But still, like Wake's going to be good. Wake's really athletic front court. And Ohio State's in all the metrics now like a top 25 team. And here comes Little Rock, which is supposed to be like the day off in between. And that's your preseason pick to win their conference NCAA tournament team, I believe. Haven't done my prep on those guys yet, but I know that's a good team that's supposed to win and win well. But like I think that's gonna be a tough game.
I think one of the people that the previous question was referring to is Willie G 2013, who says, "What's the quickest timeline where Ren Baker would admit his mistake and move on from Ross Hodge?"
quickest timeline,
Yeah. Willie G's
barring
out.
scandal, it's going to be a couple years.
Okay.
I mean, unless this just goes belly up, which I don't foresee. Sorry, to answer your question, you'd have to be like 9-23, like that type of disaster. But again, I just the reservation of starting it over again, five
I would
coaches in
say
5 years.
even 9 and 23, 1 year and done. I still don't think so, right?
It's just too much, especially because everything is so unstable, but going in the right direction. I think like even the progress when you shift things and you like rearrange things, it's still not stable. So yeah, you got more money coming in allegedly to this and that, and I'm not even gonna say allegedly because that's all on the track. So all this money's coming in, but you still got to give that time to foment and to settle and all that. I'm not sure anybody knows how to do that stuff yet, too. So I do think your leashes are shorter for sure, and you cannot afford to fall way behind. And I think sometimes the AD is just inherently. I just don't see that again. I haven't seen all Sunday's games. I don't know, but I can't. What, I'm not saying he's firing him, but he's saying like, okay, how bad does it have to get? Because I believe this is one of the more staunch Hodge is not the guy people out there, which is fine. That's your position. I get that. Um, his woe is us attitude that will have to kind of continue on and drag a lot of people down like way before February, I would think. Like if they're
Yeah.
really, really bad in January and then February becomes a bad, boozy month, if you will, Chris, Boosy, then sure, you could do that. So much heat would have to come up. You'd have to have maybe like off the court stuff or players quitting or players checking out, like just throwing towels at the coach during the game. You'd have to have some unique and extenuating stuff to make it a year. So realistically, his question, you got to give a guy probably 2 years and he'd have to have just miserable results. He'd have to lose recruits. He'd have to have high number of transfers. There's got to be a lot of on court and off the court stuff to make a quick change like this. I'm not prepared to answer this question. I hope that no one's
Yeah.
clipping this, putting it out
No.
there. I just don't think we're there. But I can understand the concern because again, this is not new from the questioner, which is not a critique. One of the people like right out front said, offense is bad. That's not the guy. Here's a mid-major coach who brought a mid-major staff. I'm pretty sure it's the same individual. Correct me if I'm wrong. So again, that's why he's wondering bad, and probably to his question, as bad as I think is what he's thinking. Yeah, I mean, then there might be some signs there, but I would think that you're going to have a whole lot of hesitation to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of a coach that got fired after 1 year. Because again,
In basketball, it's so rare.
yeah, if we're answering the question, Mike and I are trying to answer the question honestly here, is it would have to be so egregiously bad and include off-court stuff and include you lost the locker room, quote unquote, and it still might be 2 years or a year and a half.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, it's going to be very tough to do one and done. And again, neither Mike nor I don't believe are saying that's a possible likelihood. We're just saying that's what would have to happen to answer the question there. Uh, Montana Ear, is Hodge too loyal to certain players, i.e., his former point guard?
No, not yet.
Right.
I think that the train is catching up to Jasper Floyd because it looks like that Amir Jenkins is figuring things out pretty quickly and playing well. Here's a guy who couldn't put the ball in the basket, a guy who's calling his own number now, getting in the paint and scoring. He's putting things together. I think it's going to be a natural step back for Jenkins a little bit once the Big 12 picks up because he'll be in a comfort zone against some of these teams we're talking about that aren't particularly good. And that's happened already a little bit. And then the Big 12 is going to be a very different experience. So for the purpose of this question, I don't think you could be too loyal to Floyd unless Floyd is just an absolute net zero and maybe a net negative. You need those forces again, like just a week ago. And I still like watching Floyd. He struggled, don't get me wrong, but like one of the questions just last week, Chris, was who was surprised from the team. I enjoy watching Floyd. I think it's a fun experience just figuring out this is a guy on the floor who knows what his coach is doing and is trying to play as the coach is doing it. He's not very good at it in Charleston. I get that. Lorian, I don't have a problem with. Like that's still one of your best players. He had
Yeah.
foul trouble in one game. I get that. But Floyd's the question. Like, but again, why is Floyd posting up and running the offense low post inside out? Maybe because they didn't have anything from their five this past weekend. Is that really on Floyd? Is he cast as a point guard that should be posting up? No. Which then goes back to the question about the coach and not the player in this situation. Sometimes your coaches have to put your players in spots that they're not good at to help out the rest of the team. And who's the guy that could play inside out and pass the ball? If it's not Obi Oha, it's Floyd. I don't know. That still seems weird. I get the question. I don't think he's too loyal to him. I think you need. He's right for this particular situation. There might come a time where Jenkins is better, and then the answer is yes, he's too loyal if he continues to play Floyd just because they were together for 1 year in North Texas. So again, a good question now, a better answer later than right now. Not ducking you, I get it. I just think that there's a purpose for Floyd to be here and to play and be in the role he's in right now. But there's probably a time limit on that too.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is the question is, especially early in the year, why in the first few games of the season are you playing a junior that has started 71 games at the Division One level over a true freshman that enrolled early? It's like,
Yeah.
well, the answer's pretty obvious there. I feel like, yeah, it's like, yeah, you're starting to go with experience because you trust him a little bit more. Couple things to note here. Amir Jenkins in his first 4 games, 12 minutes, 9 minutes, 13 minutes, 12 minutes. The last 3 games, 21, 19, 16. So he's playing more, slightly more. It's still small sample size, both fronts here, the front and back that I'm giving the examples of here. But it seems to be he's trending towards playing more, which means he's getting a little more comfort zone with his coach. His coach is trusting him a little bit more. So keep an eye on it. Like you're saying, not yet. If we're 20 games in and there's still struggles and Jenkins is back to playing 12 minutes a game, then maybe you ask the question. But there's also the other part of it is, and I pointed it out earlier when I was talking about the high ball screens, like he's still trying to learn the game as a true freshman. He's so young. Like that one where he's sitting there floating back and staying back on his man 2 passes away instead of being ready to get the guy 1 pass away, leaving him wide open for a three. That's something you learn in your second and third year. That's something that Jasper Floyd probably doesn't do, but Jenkins did do. And that's not something that's going to show up on the stat sheet. Like if you go look at where was that on the stat sheet, it's not there. I mean, maybe in your plus minus or something, but that's on Jenkins, and that's something the coaches are going to see, and they're like, man, we can't leave guys wide open like that, and that was on him. Other part of this, and just to throw it out there again, I saw the same thing that a lot of you guys are complaining about with my own eyes. I saw it. It was not Floyd's best games this past week. It was not his best tournament here, but did you know that Jasper Floyd statistically is having a career season so far?
I mean, he had a 25-point game.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That's
obviously the most
all.
points per game. He's the best he's ever shot from the floor, the best he's ever shot from three, the most steals he's ever had. His assists are right in line with what he normally has, 4.0, and he's 4.1 and 3.9 previous stops. And he's playing the fewest minutes he's ever played per game.
Oh,
So again, small sample size. We'll see where it goes from here, but just we'll see. Again, we're in the not yet zone. I think a lot of these answers that are going to be in the hey, why isn't this happening with basketball? A lot of the answers are going to be yeah, it's 7 games. So we'll see. Uh,
I do like that fans are keeping this honest because
yeah, I don't think it's
sometimes,
yeah, it's not a bad question. Like you can't have a coach that's too loyal to players. We've seen it. I mean, Huggins did it with his guys. Like there are players that coaches just love and will
oh,
not play them less, even though they
yeah,
should.
it crosses sports too. So, um, yeah, I mean, these are questions that
Oh,
you
do
could
you want
very
to
well.
go? Are you going there? You want to talk about it? We can set aside a couple minutes for you, Mike, if you like.
I don't know, I'm good.
Okay. Um, Big time ear fan. Anything obvious to you that explains why it appears this hoops team rarely runs any offense consistently and just seems to run around hoping someone gets open much of the time?
Did you see who else is in that field in Charleston?
What in the other
Utah State.
bracket? Yeah, yeah,
Utah
say what the
State.
other bracket. Okay, yeah. No, I wasn't paying
Uh,
attention to the other the losers bracket, the silver bracket. No, I wasn't paying attention.
Utah State scored 96 against Tulane and 94 against Davidson, won both games by 20 plus. And don't look now, but Jared Calhoun is a top 20 offense and a top 40 defense. Granted, he's played Weber
Uh,
State,
you're just itching to
UTEP.
start a new hot board, aren't you? You're just itching for
Oh,
it. Did you put
also,
those notes in your new hot board?
Four games with double-digit threes. He's allowing fewer points per possession, points per game than before. I don't know how many fans from West Virginia were around for the what was it called, the Pimento bracket or whatever. I'm not sure. The Palmetto bracket was
No,
West Virginia. I
that
don't
was
know,
West Virginia in, right? Palmetto, yeah.
but Pimento. I don't know. Was that another one? I can't. I
Uh,
don't know what they're called. But, how many stopped and was like, "Wait, is that Jared Calhoun? Let me watch this offense." And we're just like, because they're fun and they're
yeah.
exactly what they're supposed to be. And he's rebuilt his roster again, and they're again all their metrics. I think Ken Palm has them at 425 this morning. They're good. So that's one thing too. But then that's the way that Jared coaches. Plays fast. He puts his foot to the metal, pedal to the metal. He goes wants to score. We saw that. It can misfire too. The opposite is true too. Hodge's offense is half a shot clock probably because he starts in the back half. You know, they're methodical getting the ball off the court. They want to kind of recover a little bit on offense from the way they play defense, and they want to make you guard for 30 seconds. So you're not getting a break if you're the other team. You're having to work for 25, 30 seconds every possession. And you got to guard for 25, 30 seconds too. Just the way he goes. With better talent, might play faster, sure. I don't know that's in the cards this year unless he really changes things up. And he's just never had a super explosive offense. Efficiency more of his game, trying to get, into the upper 70s, 80s, and like 62 possessions is not easy. You're gonna have to hit some threes. You're gonna have to make free throws. It's you're not really working with a whole lot of margin for error the way he plays. So that's maybe why it's not very exciting. Like to the question, why do they run on the offense? Again, they abbreviate the shot clock, I think. Like it's not standing around and wait, but they do take, close to 10 seconds to get the ball up the court. Then you got to reset it and start moving. And then running their offense is not, it's not a whole lot, Chris. Like you can pick me through this, but it does seem like guys moving around, but it's like half the floor is part of the play and you're trying to create spacing with the other guys. But when part of it is too that so much attention, the other team's defense is going toward Huff, that really does limit you too. So I think it's hard for everybody else to get open when a lot of it goes to Huff or through Huff, and they just don't have anybody who jumps up and gets you points when you need them, apart from Huff, who's gonna have a hard time doing that consistently on the perimeter if he is the person that the other team is really paying attention to.
Yeah. So two parts to this. First, I think the part that was frustrating watching, especially the game on Sunday, was early on. West Virginia seemed to really push to get to the free throw area, whether that was by dribble or by pass. And once they got there, that kind of draws the eyes of the entire defense once you get into that zone. And they would draw the attention there, and then everybody else would cut. And you just saw some beautiful passes there. I think there was one where they tossed it to the high post to Lorian or Moore, who then turned and faced the basket like he's supposed to. All the defensive eyes were on him. Somebody cuts from the short corner towards the basket. Boom, little drop down. Boom, basket. Easy, easy peasy. And then for the rest of the game, there never seemed to be any intent of getting to that same area. Never any intent of trying to draw all the eyes to one spot and then trying to work behind the defense. And it kind of just went to a side, like you were talking about earlier, like we referenced, like just working one side. And I mean, at the end of the Clemson game, there was one play talked about. It was like Jasper Floyd backing down his man, like almost from like the 3 point line, like he was Charles Barkley. And I was like, again, I hadn't seen the first 35 minutes, so I was like, was this a mismatch that's been going on all game and I didn't know about it? That Jasper Floyd has post up game, and the other four guys just kind of stood around on the other half of the court, and it was like that seems like an odd choice for an offense. And once you got to the second half of the Clemson game, or the Xavier game, there was a lot more standing around. There wasn't as much Jasper Floyd posting up, but it was again like one guy going to one side of the court, maybe two, and then the other three or four guys just standing on the other half of the court. And you referenced it, and even Ross Hodge referenced it in his post game press conference. There hasn't been a second guy. Like if Hunter Huff isn't it, now there's been a different guy each game. Like Lawrence had a great game, Floyd's had a one great game, and Eagle staff scored a few points the other day. But there's been nobody that's consistently been able to score for this team, and so it's almost like all right, they're face guarding Huff and completely denying him the ball. So what's our next option? All right. Well, last game Floyd killed it for us. Oh, crud. He's off. All right, let's try Laureate. Up. Nope, he's off. All right, let's try Eagle Staff. And like they spend half the game trying to figure out which one of you guys is on today. Which one of you guys is on today? And then it's part of that's a personnel problem. You need more consistency from your dudes. Guys need to be able to make plays on their own. But part of that is also what I'm asking here of like what happened to that offense that kind of drew the attention and was able to move the ball around because it essentially turns into taking turns going one on one to see who can score. Like, all right, your turn. Let's see if you can go one on one and score. All right, your turn. Let's see if you can do a ball screen and score. Nope. All right, your turn. And that's how like the whole second half went.
Also, I mean, OBOHa's given him just about nothing the last two games too.
Yeah, didn't play
Really,
a whole lot in the last game either. Like
last three
quick
games
pull.
really. We had two for 12 from the floor last three games, and again, just couldn't count on him here. He doesn't play the final. He doesn't play the final 11:01 last night, Chris. And again, zero plus minus that. They're out by 10 when he leaves. They try to make a rally without him or because he's not in the game or whatever. I don't know. And then they lose by 10 too. So it's if you have one guy with size who can do that, and again, you cannot if he has these games, I'm not putting it all on him. If he has these numbers, 1 for 5, 0 for 4, 1 for 3 in Big 12 play, curtains.
Yeah.
They need the size and they need somebody in there who can make it hard for the other team, who can get rebounds. He did have 9 rebounds against Clemson. Great. Two last night in 14 minutes. So not a foul trouble thing. Just not getting points, which I think if you thought about what you saw in the Pitt game, his first like high major opponent of the year in this offense. Okay, maybe he's not going to go 8 for 9 every night, but he was confident. Like he was getting the ball and doing something with it too. Have not seen that the past couple of games. The Lafayette guy, like the young guy in Lafayette, is going to be a good player. Probably not Lafayette for very long, but like he's a big guy, like 6'8", 6'9", 240. Good player. And that should be what you're talking about after the game. Like, well, the guy on Lafayette's a good player. Probably shouldn't be having that conversation. And if you need him against a team like Clemson that's very big, and he gives you, what, 0 points, I think? Yeah, scoreless for the first time against Clemson in 26 minutes. That's trouble because that's 26 minutes. It's probably about as most as he's going to play effectively. And then last night, just not 1 for 3, 14 minutes again, doesn't play the final 12 minutes of the game. That's concerning too. I know it's a guard offense and it's an outside in offense, or at least like a lot of their stuff's going to be generated on the perimeter. You need that guy in the middle. I mean, to screen sometimes, to give you relief, to play in the middle instead of one side of the floor. You need that. And again, if you've got Floyd posting up because that's your way to distribute the ball inside out, I don't like that very much. That's not a great omen for them.
Yeah, Hodge also not pleased with OBO's effort on the boards and Lawrence too. Honestly, he said the two of them combined for 44, 45 minutes, I think, when you take into account the seconds, and had zero offensive rebounds. He was like that was a spot where he thought this team could have beaten up on Xavier, getting some offensive rebounds, get some putbacks, second chance points, and just didn't at all. And
There are only 11 offensive rebounds in that game, Chris, total.
yeah.
That's crazy. Like, there's not a whole lot to go around, but like just a lot of defensive rebounds, not a lot of offensive rebounds, sir.
One more basketball question, and then just to give everybody a preview, one more basketball, two football, two baseball, and then a Thanksgiving question. So, basketball, you're the coach. Moving forward, what, if any, changes do you make to the starting five in the rotation? And when Fields is back, how would you use him in that rotation? I mean, Fields, do we know? Like, I just don't know him that well as a player. Like, I mean, obviously, I looked back at what he had done at his previous stop, but unlike Moore, he hasn't even been practicing really, like with the team. Like Moore has at least had a chance to practice with the team a lot.
Yeah, they're taking the training wheels off of Fields, like, but I don't think he's done live stuff. And this is again why they need practice time so bad. They've had such small gaps in between games, and it's going to take a little bit of energy and effort to incorporate someone like him. How is it different from Moore? Moore was able to go. Like he had no physical limitations. And also they really needed somebody in the front court that can do what Moore does. Disappointed by what I saw yesterday, encouraged, or I guess by what I read yesterday, but encouraged by Friday night's performance. I think it's exactly who and what you thought he was going to be. Almost a no-show yesterday. And bad because they need that. They need that guy who can do what he did over and over and over, maybe too much Friday night. Floyd's a little bit, excuse me, Fields a little bit different in that he's like Lorient size, but more Obioha's game. I don't know. He's I think a good glue guy. This simplifies it too much, but he's probably like the Ugasuk of the front court. Just a guy who's going to come in and do his thing and not just fit in and be a nice piece that holds the other parts together for them. Practicing just hasn't done a whole lot of live stuff, but again, now they have until Sunday. You can figure out how to get him in and to do more things and what's his minute rotation, this and that. Here's the problem though, Chris. Here's a guy who likes to play 8, maybe 9. Now you're looking at 10, and I'm not. I wasn't. I was very surprised by how little Thomas played and how little he did. Both games just didn't seem like there was a lot of room for him on the floor, a lot of time for him on the floor, and that's a guy who was peaking. We thought going into that tournament, hey, what can this guy do in a really big stage? But I don't think he scored the first game, and he played minimal again against Xavier. Yeah, scoreless in 9 minutes the first game, Chris.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I know he did not have a great game. He scored twice, 4 points in 19 minutes, so better minutes there. That's the guy who's going to get affected, I think, by what happens. I mean, no fouls Friday night, and he barely played. Why? Is it because it was a high major team out there across the floor? Well, are you going to learn how to do that in the Big 12, or are you going to learn how to do that in South Carolina? You got to figure
That,
those things out there too. But here's an answer. That's a guy that like Fields has played a lot of basketball and just is good at what he does. Like his numbers have been fairly consistent. I don't think he's going to come in and be a huge impact, but he could be a glue. He can be a gap filler. He can be a bridge. But where do you put him? I don't know. Like, can you take more minutes than Thomas? You can't take minutes and more. He's got to play, but he's got better than he did last night. This is a good question. Here's a coach who doesn't really like to use a freshman a whole lot. Probably hasn't had two true freshmen like Jenkins and Thomas. We saw Thomas's minutes get trimmed, and he didn't play well against some high level competition here. Now, what do you do when you bring in Fields and you got a bunch of older guys who can play? Where Thomas? He'd be the one. Thomas and Ugasuk would be the guys that I wonder what their minutes are going to be. I think those are the ones that are probably most likely to lose playing time here, just because the numbers don't work. It's very hard to play 10, and Virginia doesn't play fast. Does not play fast. So you're not going to have like a whole bunch of like jet speed possessions and have to take guys out because they're gassed. So I think that the minutes might come from the backcourt and the front court in Ugasuk and Thomas, provided that Moore and Fields can do that. But I'm not sure that Thomas, if he gets back on track, has a major difference from Fields. So really curious to see how this works for sure.
yeah. I'd always, I mean, honestly, before the season, I just didn't even know if Thomas would be part of the rotation.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised with how he started the season. And then I think I even, hey, caught it right before, what was that, a 20-point game or 25-point game, right? Yeah, against Lafayette. I said, after Pitt, I was like, hey, man, watch this guy. Like, he looks offensively like his shot is ready. I think I mentioned that, he went 2 of 5 from three in that game, but you could see even the misses were on. Like, they were just a hair short, just a hair long. They weren't off left or right. They looked smooth. He looked confident. Now, he did most of his damage in the next game closer to the basket, which, again, that's even more encouraging. Like, it's a guy that has a versatile game that can beat you in and out. That's even better. And then just 9 minutes against Clemson. And I don't know. I mean, you look at it and you're like, oh, he jacked up 3 shots pretty quick, including a couple threes. Did he get pulled real quick because Ross Hodge didn't like those threes? Maybe. That's a real possibility. But getting 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists in 19 minutes, that's, again, it's a guy that's can contribute, I feel like. So I don't know where the minutes come from. Is Jackson Fields better than that? He's shown he's been pretty consistent and reliable, and maybe that's what this team needs. So maybe he is going to take those minutes. Maybe it's Yugasek, like you said. Those were the two guys. Like again, before in the preseason. So I'm basing this off of my preseason thoughts. Was Thomas likely wouldn't be part of the rotation, and Yugasek would play until Chance Moore and Jackson Fields got back, and then I thought Yugasek would be out. I don't. My feelings are changed just slightly. I do think Yugasek's going to be the one hit the hardest by the latest additions, but I mean, Hodge was quick to pull Thomas and not Yugasek. Yugasek's minutes were the same ish with Chance Moore back than they were before Chance Moore came back. So
Kind of
we'll
like
see.
Ugasuk.
Yeah.
I haven't hated him. He scored in every game he's played in. He plays decent defense. His plus minus was, I think, fourth on the team going to the tournament, even though he's seventh in minutes. And listen, they did not blow teams out. I know they had a couple of 22-point wins in a row, but like the Pitt game, fine, blowout, but a competitive game is because. And then they were in it against Mount St. Mary's, Campbell, Lehigh. Like even the Lehigh game was kind of close-ish for a while. Like they haven't. I don't know. My point is like that's not a, like where sometimes you'll see like Spencer Mackey have a high plus minus because he gets in the final 4 minutes of a game they win by 60. Didn't have that. So for him to be playing like heavy minutes, 20, 24 minutes for him for Ugasuk, and to have a good plus minus, I just think that's something that doesn't miss Hodge. And he plays last night 2 for 5, hits a three, 3 rebounds. I don't know where his minutes are or why he'd be losing him apart from another guy is available. That's a tough. Again, I'm glad would love the paycheck, would not love the job here.
I did not have a Spencer Mackey reference on my bingo card. Kudos to you, Michael.
Also,
Um,
Uga minus 11 last night, so he probably
oof.
took care. Yeah.
Um, all right. You want football or baseball next?
Let's go baseball. People want baseball.
People want baseball. C. Hush, what are your baseball predictions for the year? Super regional three-peat? I
I mean,
mean,
that's the game now, right?
yeah, I mean, if we're gonna do this, not we, but if West Virginia is going to do this,
Yeah.
and if we are going to cover it and we're going to talk about it like this, expectations are going to be set accordingly. Like, I mean I mean the coaches staff, like Saban's has the expectations of this now. The players that he's recruiting have the expectations of this now. The people donating money to baseball like it has never been donated before have these expectations now. So super regional, strong. I mean, that's what do we make that the equivalent of? Like I say, hey, we want a Sweet 16 or Elite Eight every year. Um, but I think the bare minimum now is NCAA postseason. Like that's just the bare minimum. And the only way you're not expecting that is if there's just a rash of bad luck and injuries early in the season. Otherwise, your expectation has to be at the very least NCAA postseason.
I think very quietly, I don't know how many people noticed this, but they went to Wake Forest and had like an exhibition series. Wake Forest is usually pretty good.
Yep.
Um, and they loved the way they played. They felt like that was a good indication of fall ball was good to them, but now let's go out and play some other people that you don't know. And I forget what it was, but it was like a 7 inning game, an 11 inning game, or something like that. It's weird how you do these things, but they felt they pitch and hit situation. They played really well. I don't know who wins something like that. I think West Virginia might have actually had more runs and whatever, but felt they did really well. So they're probably in a position to think that why can't they do three of these in a row? Not because of Wake Forest, but because that was just a validation that their offseason and their fall went as planned, which means they plan to be in a super regional again. So I don't think you have a whole lot of negativity here. Can they get to February with healthy arms? That's the one thing too. We feel like we have this news conference every year at the beginning of the season where, oh, so and so who's supposed to be a big inning guy for us this year, he's going to have Tommy John. There's always something like that, right? Can they get healthy arms there? Because they have a number of pitchers that they're going to have to workshop and get into big roles. I think the offense will be fine. Um, yeah, now it's like, wow, wouldn't it be great if this team made the NCAA tournament? Well, now it's like, well, wait a minute, they didn't play in the NCAA tournament. What happened? That's probably what's changed the most. Super Regional's a big ask, right?
Yeah.
Big ask, but that's the goal now.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
think
stake.
again,
Yeah.
and again, it's just like the NCAA tournament. You say NCAA tournament, and you're like, yeah, get to the Sweet 16, but it also just the draw can be killer. Like, what if you end up just, you make the NCAA, you make the postseason for baseball, but then you got somebody like LSU in your regional, and it's like, okay, I mean,
Yeah.
stuff. Like, it's gonna be tough ask here.
I would say
Um,
this. I would say a goal, host a regional.
that's
Like it's
good.
one thing to get in, one thing to get in, great. And it's not one thing, it's a great thing to get in. Didn't happen here for a long, long time. Don't take it for granted. But hosting is a big deal.
That's
Um,
essentially so you're saying top 16 in the country,
so
more or
I think
less,
it's
give or take a couple spots, right? Like how
they've
they
been
figure it
close.
out, but
They've been close. They're going to have to finish season strong and advance in the Big 12 tournament. And neither one of those has been their strength the past few years. But like they've been close, so I think that's a
yeah,
reasonable thing. If they want to go further, they're going to have to finish season stronger. And if they want to go further in the NCAA tournament, it helps to have that first series at home.
yeah. All right, next question. Philip Smith, 12. In years past, baseball has started off playing tough competition early. Arizona Series in 23, multiple early season tournaments in 22. Last year's schedule was very weak until Big 12 play started. This year, their non-conference isn't as weak, but WVU won't play a legit contender until the midweek game against Maryland the week before Big 12 play opens up. Is that how Saban's wants the scheduling to be? And can we expect to see the same format in the future?
Yeah, I think so, and that's not a major deviation from what he was. I don't think he was the guy who put the schedule together, but he was with Randy Macy, and they did a lot of these things similarly too. You can kind of pick and choose a little bit, but it's almost non-negotiable. They want in the South to start the season because they want to play, they want to get games and innings. And Chris, I'm not sure that WVU has to beat a bunch of teams in non-conference play to make the tournament. I just don't think
Right.
that's it. Probably not the point of this question, but do they want to get good competition to get them ready for the Big 12 or some of the early season like non-conference games? Maybe. Do you want to play games and get innings and get your pitching sorted out? I think that's a bigger thing. So maybe like where they play is a bigger deal than who they play. And that's the formula they've used for a long, long time, which means a lot of road games away from Morgantown, a lot of, you know, maybe 3 games in 3 different cities. Like they've done that stuff before. Like, oh, we'll play one city in North Carolina, another city in North Carolina, another city in North Carolina. Just stuff like that. But they want to play, which means go south, go to warm weather. And then do they have to play really good teams? I think they're in a position they don't have to do that. They don't like if they win the Big 12, if they vie for the Big 12, if they get to the Big 12 semifinal, they're going to be in a really good position to make the field. So with so many games, it's not like football where you move the needle with one non-conference win or even basketball because now you have I think 54. So you got 12 football games, 3 non-conference. You got 31 basketball games, 13 non-conference. You got 54 baseball games, room for 56. And I'm trying to think, is it 24? How many games did they play in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think because they don't play everybody, right?
27? I don't know. Your games are non-conference. So like you put one really good non-conference game or series in, you still got like 21 other non-conference games.
Yeah.
So it's hard to do. And I'm not sure what the I don't know, season juice, so to speak. So I just like the fact that they're playing games and getting things situated. So when they do hit the Big 12, they start off, in the front foot here and try to bank some wins in series. That's what they want to do. So, it's worked for them. Last year was very different, but also what was the story last year? They couldn't lose, and
Yeah.
that got them going. And they were so hot, and that got them reputation, probably got them and all that stuff. But also they were so far above 500, it took a lot of the pressure off. And you got guys who just felt like they could play at this level. Who it's going to be new for JUCO guys and Division II transfers and even some Division I transfers. I like opening their eyes and letting them taste wins. Be like, you know what, that was fun. Let's keep doing that. And if you have a schedule that does that, that's okay too.
This feels like the years with Huggins and who I mean I gotta give credit to whomever it was that helped set that up where they had the formula essentially in place to kind of cheat the RPI where it was like, yeah, we're gonna play a bunch of teams that are nowhere near as good as us, but they're good enough in the computer system rankings that it's going to boost our RPI. And West Virginia's baseball team is playing a lot of teams that shouldn't be as good as them. But as you noted, because of where West Virginia is located, they are having to go on the road a lot. And going on the road helps boost your RPI. So West Virginia goes on the road, plays some bad teams, but they're playing bad teams on the road, which then makes them mediocre teams, I guess, in the eyes of the computer, if you will. And that can help boost you long term. And again, it gets them used to travel, it gets them used to playing a lot of baseball games. I don't hate it. And again, when you are turning over so much of your team and trying to figure out your rotation, trying to figure out your lineups, you really you don't want to do that while getting your butts kicked. You would really like to do that while you are kicking someone else's butt. So I'm a big fan of the scheduling plan here by Sabins.
Also, they're going to play Kennesaw State, which is typically a pretty good baseball program. I think that was like a top 60 team this year, or last year, I guess. They're playing Columbia, which won the Ivy League. Ooh. So I think it's very hard to predict your RPI. You could do that before because you had so many players returning, like Jared Calhoun to bring him up again. We'll put the schedule together. Josh Eiler did too. All right, which mid-major team has a lot of players coming back? This team went to the conference championship game and brings back 4 starters. You roll the dice and you bring them to Morgantown for a game. It's so hard to do now with the turnovers. And baseball's always been prone to turnover, but with everybody turning over now a little bit more than before, baseball's it's impossible to try to predict that stuff. So maybe you know what? I know what the weather's going to be in March. That probably seems like a better indicator of a spot in the schedule.
Um, WVU 1515. How many fans will show up Saturday? We're at football now. High temps in the upper 30s. Texas Tech, et cetera, et cetera. Over under 38,500.
Over.
Okay.
That would be historically bad.
Okay, wait. Over as in actually over or reported over? Or both?
I don't really pay a ton of attention to attendance, but have I covered a game that had like that wasn't COVID that had fewer than 38,000 people?
Yeah, there was one like Iowa State. Was it Iowa State game? Like in, God, what was that? There was an Iowa State game, I feel like. Let's try to look it up real quick. Was it?
It,
It was, I
here's
mean, it was one of the really bad years. So I'm looking here. Now that's away. Going back, this is good. This is good podcasting listening right here. Kansas.
yeah.
So 2022,
Oh,
Kansas State came to town. The week second to last game of the season. West Virginia was 4-7,
okay.
37,055.
So I'm looking here at a website. There's 3,500 tickets available on this website, secondary market. Um, but here's West Virginia has rigged the game here in a smart way. No student section, which is a big minus, right? But they're selling those spots.
Yeah,
Like you can buy student section tickets for $45. So, and they promoted this like be a mountaineer maniac for a day. Pretty cool,
smart.
right? And those
Yep,
to become a
smart.
student. $45, sit in the student section. You get a goodie bag. Woo. Um, all sorts of giveaways and prizes for the people too. So you're talking $45 for tickets there. That's better than probably paying what, 80? More than that on a site. I could see them. I mean, yeah, they're gonna go over 38 for sure, over. But I wonder how big the number will be. Will it hit 50? That's probably the better question.
All right. So the game I was thinking of was like the lowest uh home schedule, home attendance in maybe ever, not counting COVID. And that was the 2013 season when West Virginia went 4-8. They played Iowa State in the last game of the season.
Ooh,
33,735.
I remember
Um,
that. They were, yeah.
and again, the only other one I
I,
can find sub 40 was 2022 when Kansas State came to town for the second to last game of the season. 37,055. I don't think it'll be that bad, right? Like it won't be that. It'll be more. There we go. What, over under? You're saying over that.
yeah, that was the game that was right after they fired Lions, and you thought Brown was finished, and they started being those a pick six like in the second play, I think,
Yeah.
um, and it was bad, and I thought that might have been the end for Neil Brown, and it was not the end for Neil Brown. Comes back, wins 9 games next year, and then it was the end for Neil Brown against Texas Tech. Chris,
Mm-hmm.
funny.
Mm-hmm. Besides Kevin Brown, are there any other current commits or prospects we're actively pursuing that the staff believes can earn meaningful snaps, meaningful playing time in 2026? George Isaac third.
Oh, all these JUCOs, right?
Yeah, I mean everything. I was gonna say all the guys we're talking about now. Kedrick Triplett was a wide receiver who just committed on Sunday. Keon Hudgens committed a couple weeks ago, came in for his official visit. He'll be a guy to keep an eye on. Martavius Boswell is a running back that they brought in. Could be committing now, or any moment in the near future. Again, if you're recruiting junior college guys, I think you're expecting them to play. You're expecting them to be part of it. Kevin Brown's probably the most ready to play high school kid. Rolling around the rest, like I mean, some of these guys, like a lot of the linemen, again, I almost just exclusively omit them, other than Brown, because he's just a different kind of dude. Vincent Smith, they love him. I mean,
Yeah.
our scouts love him. They just bumped him to 4 stars. Um,
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know. You may not believe this, but there are a lot of guys that get bumps in the rankings for West Virginia. But that's a guy that I was capital T told like before the bump, like, hey man, like that guy, even though he was at the time the highest rated kid in the class, that guy's underrated. Like they think that guy is a dude. So with so many guys leaving in the secondary, Vincent Smith could be the guy. Wait, I just thought of something. I said, so many guys leaving, and I brought it up the other day. Did you see Jordan Scruggs' quote tweet? Because I said, hey, what about Jordan Scruggs? Are we sure he's done? Because he's got a junior college year. And who was it? Somebody else. The quarterback for Tennessee joined the quarterback from Vanderbilt to fight the junior that no junior college seasons should count. None. and they've joined the lawsuit together. And Jordan Scruggs with a quote tweet eye emoji. You know what that means?
I never know what that means, but I think I got this one.
I think that means he would come back. That'd be a
Does
big.
that
I mean,
mean
that'd be big news
he
for
knows
him.
where Lane Kiffin's going to be? Um, maybe that's what's going to take. I mean, I think to do that, you're going to have the junior college to have it knock out. You're going to have the NCAA say we give up. Um, and again, like that seems significant to me. If you're a non-qualifier and you haven't met the academic standards for admission to a four-year school, I don't know why the NCAA exists then. Like, if you're not going to have those standards anymore, then just get the NCAA completely out of the way.
Because
Like,
that was
if
the
you,
conversation we had about Jamori Robinson, right? It was like if he's ineligible because he didn't pass classes,
Mhm.
what's the point? Or if you guys still say he's eligible despite the fact that he didn't pass classes, what's the point here? Um, sorry.
uh, can I give you two names and you tell me what I think here? Because I've started to do my started to devour film, Chris, on the
I
recruits.
never know what you think, Mike, but I'll give it a try. Okay.
Um, am I wrong to like Makai Boone?
No, you can do that. That's fine.
I see something there.
Okay.
Corner, they need help, but like he's playing really well on a pretty good level of football too. Um, Emery Snyder,
Mm-hmm.
are these guys that could play next year? What's
Emery
Snyder, by the way?
Snyder's another one that a person, capital P, said keep an eye on. And I had a discussion with another person. I was like, how do we know this? Just because, and I wrote it in a story. Like they're his team is beating other high school teams 90-0, 72-7,
Yeah.
68-0, and it's like, man, are they that good, or is the opponent that bad? Is the team that stacked? How do we really know? But I mean, if you're telling me 6'4", 205 pounds, and I've been told that is very legit, that is legit height, that is legit weight, and you're talking a dude that size that can play safety, that can come down and play that nickel spot, that's might be game ready. Might be game ready. I like that pick, Mike.
Is he nickel? Got to be right.
Yeah, they're talking about him being like that nickel back, like a Fred Perry type player in that role.
He's 6A in Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, it's top. I just
Yeah,
seeing these
there's not a
scores,
lot
I'm
of
like, good Lord.
the trouble is there's not a lot of high schools in Oklahoma too.
Right.
So probably similar to West Virginia having 4A for some reason too. But wonder how many. But like that's your larger enrollments are going to be like there's big cities in Oklahoma. There's not a
Yeah.
whole lot of high schools though too. So those are just two I noticed. I'm sure there's more too. But like I was watching Boone's. I guess he's having really good playoffs. But I've seen I don't know I've seen Snyder a couple times and I've been like holy cow. And like you're right. The when you see those numbers and you're like how good is this? Let's watch. Man, he flies around and he's big too. Like
Yeah.
he's comparably bigger in high school. I get that, but that gives him a good head start in college.
Last question, Mike. Let's finish with food. Let's finish with
Mm,
food. It's Thanksgiving
draft,
week. Huh?
draft. We're doing a draft.
Uh, well, we could do a dessert draft. That's on there.
Mm.
The top three. Let's go in order here, or reverse order, because I don't like the from Air Force 88. These are four different questions, mini questions in one. Sacrilege or genius to eat prime rib, seafood, brisket, or other instead of turkey on Thanksgiving? Is that sacrilege?
To me, I love Thanksgiving and the turkey, deep frying it, spatchcocking it, smoking it, brining it. That's just part of the whole pomp and circumstance for me. So while I like all those foods and options, yeah, sacrilege for me personally, just because I enjoy the turkey and I enjoy Thanksgiving that much. One of my favorites.
My family, we always have a little bit of ham on the side
Okay.
with it. I mean, obviously have the turkey, but a little ham on the side. And I will admit, I will have turkey, but I predominantly eat the ham.
Okay.
I still trying to find the best way for turkey, which leads to the next question: smoked, deep fried, or roasted? Mike.
Rotation for me, just sometimes that peanut oil you can only have for so long. So maybe use it twice in 2 years. I'm not sure. You really got to take care of it. Smoker, how big's your smoker? Like I got a 16-pound burger. I got a lot of people coming in. I'm not sure I can fit that in my smoker. Um, we actually air fried a turkey a couple years ago
Mm,
because we had it roasting and we had a power glitch and didn't notice it because we were out walking dogs. And we came back, we had no idea that the power glitch and the oven was off. So we had to expedite things. And I would tell you, the air fry setting in your oven, not I did not drop my turkey in an air fryer. That would have
I was
been
gonna say, I
weird.
was like, how small was that sad little turkey, Mike? Come on,
Yeah.
man.
We had the air fryer setting on the oven and it did a really good job. I don't know if
Huh.
it was because it was like 25, 80%, like 20% roasting and 80% hurry the heck up air frying, but that worked out pretty well. I love deep frying it. I think it's a good experience. It's quicker, and the flavor is good. Locks in all the flavors there too. If I could do any one of the three, I would definitely do the smoker though.
Yeah. I like the rotation part because I like the deep fried of hanging out in the driveway and having a beer while you're doing it. But I mean, roasted is probably the one I've had the most in my life. That's the easiest kind of more traditional way to do it. I have not had a smoked one before. Might have to find somebody with a good smoke. Mike, I'll be at your house on Thursday. All right, pal.
Okay.
We'll check
So
it
will
out.
everybody else. Yeah.
Um, Thanksgiving feast, most overrated and underrated side dishes.
Um, my in-laws really like potato salad. Can't do that one. Um, and it's fine, but just like that's not my thing. Overrated. I don't like green beans, Chris.
Yeah, that's fine.
I like almondine. Almond, no, I don't want that. I'm not into that. I was at a place on a wedding that had almondine green beans. I was like, I'm not doing this. Underrated because you can have so much fun with the preparation process. Mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And then anything to me with Brussels sprouts is underrated because people don't like them. They probably never had them, but if you can cook up some Brussels sprouts in a different way, give me Brussels sprouts. Overrated's a good one. I don't like green beans. There are some stuffings I will turn my nose to, and I like cranberry. I'm not a fan of the cranberry in the can.
Yeah, I'm out on cranberry. That was going to be my overrated. I can't. I just can't do it. I'm
Consistency, not too
yeah,
tart. Okay.
yeah. The consistency bothers me. Again, the canned stuff bothers me too. I'm glad you brought up Brussels sprouts. So that's something I was like, never in my life, never going to touch it. And then a guy one of the dads I hang out with around here, no matter where we go, we could be going to get pizza and a beer. We could be going to get wings. He always has to have a side of Brussels sprouts. I'm like, why do you keep ordering this, man? He's like, trust me, you gotta try it. And we're at a place called PBR. It's Pizza and Beer of Richmond. And I'm like, yeah, we're here for pizza and beer, not for Brussels sprouts. And he's like, no, no, try it. And it's good. It's legitimately good. Like, I mean, when they crisp them up right, and I think it was like some like spicy honey drizzle on top of it or something like that. Dip in a little bit of sauce. Man, that was good. So maybe that is underrated if
Mm.
people haven't overrated it yet.
How old were you the first time you had Brussels sprouts?
How old am I now? I am 41, so 41 and a quarter.
I'm a little earlier on in life. Like I was probably like it was my brother-in-law that did the first time. I was like, I'm not eating these.
Yeah.
I was like, I probably shouldn't be rude to my sister's husband, so I had him, and then like cornered my mom and was like, why do we never have these in my first 30 plus years of life? They were so good. So I was like, I did a 180 and everybody. Like, now, just same thing. If I see them somewhere, like I'm like, I'll probably give it a shot just because they're
Yeah.
good. I'll definitely take one off someone's plate. I might order the appetizer too. Like I like your friends thinking that's pretty good.
Um, Mac and cheese. That's my favorite, personal favorite. I can't say it's underrated because I mean, who doesn't love mac and
Yeah.
cheese? And like you said, you could do crazy things with it. And I'll just say this: sometimes don't go too far because my wife's in charge of mac and cheese when we go over to her family's house for Thanksgiving. And one year she made one that was like a French onion something mac and cheese. Like it had the topping of it, like the crisp on top, instead of like breadcrumbs or whatever somebody might use. It was like French onion. Me and my kids were out entirely, and it was like almost the whole Thanksgiving was ruined. I was like, I can't believe we're at Thanksgiving, we're not having mac and cheese. And so we had to grab mac and cheese on the way home from her family's house so that me and the kids could eat it at home alone, just regular old mac and cheese. And so
It's
now the following year she went with that French onion type and a more traditional type of mac and cheese that she had made. So
oh
just doubled
man,
her own workload by trying to get creative. Got to be careful with
the
that.
the smoked turkey is a good idea, but the smoked mac and cheese is also good too. it down like
Ooh.
that. Like the flavor is pretty good on that. It takes some effort there too. Oh man, we could do like a whole episode here. Like
I know we should have just cut this. We should just cut this and put this on Thursday instead of the preview pod for Texas Tech. Say something nice about Texas Tech. We'll call it the preview pod and move on.
Texas Tech does not like Brussels sprouts.
Texas Tech
Sent.
runs to the right because they don't like mac and cheese
Yeah,
70%
we're
of the
done. We're
time.
finished.
There we go. Last part of this top three desserts. I don't know if we need a draft out of this, but what's your go-to here?
I mean, it's cliche, but you got to have a pumpkin pie. Am I wrong there?
Um, are we including because we have like this? It's like a ice cream pumpkin pie, like pumpkin pie ice cream pie.
I think if it's a derivative, we'll allow
Yeah,
it.
I was gonna say I don't really like pumpkin pie, but my wife's aunt makes this pie where it's an ice cream, essentially ice cream pie, and the mix is like pumpkin ice cream with whipped cream on top with a pie crust, and it's awesome. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Um, I'm not a big into apple pie. I feel like it's a year-round thing. You can get it whenever. 4th of July, Thanksgiving, not my thing here. So like pecan, maybe it depends
Hmm.
what the other dishes are too. Um, had some like a graham cracker pie, which is kind of like a almost like a cream pie or something like that too. Uh, I have an unhealthy obsession with bananas, Chris. Banana bread is like my favorite thing, and you can do some good banana breads that fit into the Thanksgiving motif here. And then third one for me, um, I'm really not into sweets that much, so it's kind of a hard thing for me here too.
Yeah,
Like cookies, like I could go like traditional. My family would be like cannoli or spaghetti or something like that, but that's not very Thanksgiving-y. So
yeah,
pies are always good. I don't mind a fruit pie either. Like if cherry pie, someone's like, "Oh, we got a weird blackberry pie. Would you like it?" Probably. Let me try it, but probably,
yeah,
yeah. Um, but pumpkin's got to be there. I like banana bread, and again, you can spice up banana bread. You can make it Thanksgiving or autumnal if you want. And then I'm open to dealer's choice on that stuff. I'll be like interested and polite, but I may also be like, "That was really good. Could I have seconds, please?" And then I'm running that night in the morning after too.
yeah. As I say, I think part of the thing is because I love sweets, but at
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, I think essentially because we eat so much food in the meal, I don't. I tend not to have a lot of sweets at Thanksgiving. Like I just don't. I think I just get too full from eating all the mac and cheese. I get too full, and I don't eat a whole lot of desserts. We do have available, and we'll get a little bit of it, like of a chocolate cream pie. That ice cream pumpkin pie that I talked about is a thing, and then my wife makes this. It's like a white chocolate and strawberry pie that I'm not big on I'm not big on white chocolate, but that's pretty good too. And it is a fan favorite amongst the people that really love the white chocolate. So
Okay, yeah, that reminds me like this weird thing where like you crumble pretzels, white chocolate, you can throw M&Ms in there or other type of candy like that becomes I forget what they call it. There's actually a name I don't want to
like
say because I think
tra
probably
it's like trash something, right? What is it called? I'm trying to
white
think.
trash is what it was actually
Oh,
called.
is that what it's called? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because of the white chocolate. But okay, we're gonna go there. That's fine.
Yeah.
Not bad. And like it's just around in a bowl. That could be a dessert, but again, big pretzel guy here too, so that's okay. I wouldn't mind that one. See, we should have really broken out this whole episode now, but
Yeah, we
sounds
should have. I could have got another 20 minutes on that.
yeah.
Oh well. All right, you want to cut this and then toss a 15-minute preview for Texas Tech and put it up on Thursday morning? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Draft our
Maybe you
favorite.
guys are watching this and it is Thursday morning and you're like, wow, they really did do that. It's okay.
Mhm. Right. Uh,
Um,
Also, s'mores. Anything s'mores is pretty good too. Like that's kind of fiery. And like I was just thinking of a pie we had last year. It was like a s'mores pie. So,
mm,
which graham cracker, chocolate. Some people like to do like a peanut butter, like a peanut butter cup in there for a little bit of flavor, and then you get the fluff of the marshmallow on there as a pie. Not bad.
nice. Um, that was the last question that I had marked. Well, again, we got some more
Should
that
have
I'll
been
answer
first.
in written mailbag. Yeah, we're the first one,
Yeah.
or I'll answer the rest in a written mailbag. And we got two others that we're gonna do for 3-minute videos throughout the week. So keep an eye out for those. Mike, you got anything else?
Nothing. Football Tuesday. Rich Rodriguez back for the last time, and then I think basketball's completely off the radar until Sunday when they come back. Right?
Mm. I haven't got an email about anything yet. So
It would have to be tomorrow. Would be the interviews, and they're not going to do it Tuesday. Maybe Wednesday.
mm,
They should just hide for a while. I think.
yeah,
Let's go back
we'll be
to
all
normal.
right.
All right. Well, until whenever. I am Mike Zaza.
And I'm Chris Anderson.
Talk to you then.